I'm going to celebrate Hanukkah in Iran.
Turkish military officials visited Iran. They said the security of the Islamic Republic of Iran is the security of Turkey.
Iran religiously has a really apocalyptic view. Like, they want world war. But once this is done, I believe we're about to enter into an era of prosperity like we've never seen before. But I feel like we're right now at the transition between the natural and the supernatural. We're about to witness miracles.
Welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of anti-Israel propaganda and Jew hatred, you should always be connected to the land and people of Israel. Guys, so much happening in the world today. I'm sure your eyes are glued to the news just as much as ours are. And as we're recording, things are happening by the minute, so we're going to stay updated as we go throughout the podcast today. Luke Hilton, Joshua Waller, Nate Waller, and Rabbi Jeremy Gimpel. I heard there's some confusion in the comments, so just to clarify, we're Christian Zionists living in the land of Israel. We're here to build up the land of Israel and to stand with the Jewish people unconditionally. Jeremy is an Orthodox Jewish rabbi who we believe in very much in what he's doing as well, and we come together to share the light from Israel with you guys all over the world. So, diving in today, guys.
I would say even more than that. I think that we represent here what the world could be like, what the world should be like. And it is a brotherhood. And
Amen.
It's something really beautiful, something that I really take a lot of honor in, that we are come here together every week. We're spreading the truth from Israel. And the fact that we are so different, that we come from different backgrounds, different nations, different religions, and yet still there's authentic love in this room, that we have a common mission, and we're all working for the same goal. We're all working for the people of Israel, for the land of Israel, for the God of Israel, and that's all that really matters.
That's right. Oh. Amen. Yes. Oh, and by the way, Ari is not feeling so well today, so we wish him to get better very soon and hopefully be back with us next week. But we're happy to have Nate Waller with us, always our becoming our Israel Guys commentator, regular on the show. So,
Luke, something that's happening right now, literally right now, it just hit across Israel, is that they're moving bomb shelters, mobile bomb shelters across central Israel.
Yeah, I'll show the video of that while you're talking. No, I mean, just it's just crazy to see. They're actually, like, I don't remember that always happening whenever there was anticipation of something going down in Israel, that they just start dropping bomb shelters everywhere. I know they do sometimes, but it feels very
Jeremy, we were just literally talking about this, is that Israel saying there's no home front command, has not shifted anything. They're all like, everything's just fine. No, nothing's happening. And it's like underneath, I think every Israeli's like...
everyone is just waiting. Everyone is waiting. This is the opposite of the last Iran attack.
Exactly.
Where it was like a total surprise. There was manipulation. There was tricks. Trump was the F-bomber that way and this way. And now it's like everyone's just waiting. When is it going to happen? It's just a matter of time. And everyone's just kind of like waiting and watching and wondering, like, okay, is it going to be today? Is it going to be this afternoon? Is it going to be this evening? But the truth is that the waiting has done an amazing thing. Because in this waiting, a lot of the masks have been taken off.
Yeah.
We start seeing, I mean, look at this. This is a massive protest of liberals in Washington, D.C. protesting for the free people of Iran. Check this out.
And he is a member of the Palestinian Youth Movement.
That's not true. That's not a protest for the people of Iran. That's a free Palestine protest. And of course, the liberals right now are marching in mass for the free Palestine movement. And there are people that are literally being slaughtered in the streets. And the entire liberal world that was so vocal for the people of Gaza are totally quiet now. And it's like, when there was no genocide, when there was no starvation, there's a regime that is going out and killing the most unarmed, simple people that are asking for their freedom, and the world is totally quiet.
So you're saying, as this is happening in Iran, like people are being slaughtered, this protest is happening for...
No, that was a protest that was a few months ago. That happened when the war in Gaza.
But there's zero protests in America right now for Iran.
The truth is, if you look at college campuses now, they were erupting because of the war in Gaza. And now there's not even one college campus that has even one protest. So it's just revealing the truth. They never cared about the liberation of the Gazans. They were motivated by hate of Israel. And now when there are people that are actually fighting for their liberation, the world is totally quiet.
And let's expand this out a little bit, because you also have the Kurds being attacked again, and there's a real situation in Syria that's happening, and also the Druze And so if anybody actually cares about these people, these minorities looking for freedom are being the actual, what you're saying, the actual reality of freedom to the Middle East is actually at play here. And bad players are rising in and slaughtering in mass right now, not just in Iran, also in Syria. And we're seeing this unfold at the same time the world is silent.
Well, it's not just the Hollywood actors are quiet. It's not just the college campuses. It's not the liberal progressives that were marching. The UN, I mean, we recognize Somaliland. Right. There was an emergency meeting at the UN. Quickly, we must discuss what's happening in Somaliland. And there are people that are being slaughtered in the streets of Iran while Iran sits on the Human Rights Committee of the United Nations. Meaning there's a movement that is progressive, that's globalist, that is a world order that exists now, that is being exposed for what it truly is. And it's evil. And that's a word that needs to be used more often.
Yeah.
Because what we're seeing now, the truth is being revealed. There is a force of evil in the world, and it just so happens that that force of evil is attracted like a magnet to hating Israel. It is like the bane of its existence because Israel is the testimony. Israel is the living witness that God runs the world, that the Bible is true, and that's why they hate Israel more than everything. They'll get out in the streets if it's a war in Gaza, but when it's people that are suffering, or innocent people that are in hospitals, or when reports are coming out that the regime is going into the hospitals and killing the injured protesters. I mean, it's just absolute, it's literally genocide.
Right.
Well, it's even like crossing over to the other side. Not only people being silent, but like people are actually coming out, like calling it this a farce and it's not true. And it's all a stage, right? I want to play a clip of, we stopped playing clips of Candace Owens a long time ago, but I want to make an exception today because she just came out with such a ridiculous claim on why this is happening in Iran right now. Watch this.
So many people, oh my gosh, you won't believe what these radicals are doing. And of course, it just seems to be that whenever Bibi Netanyahu's around the corner, like, hey, I want that piece of land, suddenly our media starts telling us, hey, you wouldn't believe how free these people are trying to get in Iran. These people are really, we need to free the Iranians. Oh, they've been living in oppression. Bibi is over here like, land. Oh, no, really? It's about spreading democracy. Code word, that's military code word for dropping bombs and stealing a bunch of stuff.
I just think it's like wild that we're at this place in the world where everything is blamed on the Jews. Like, I know we've seen this over and over again already, right? But to go to the place of actually flipping the script and making fun of what's happening to the people of Iran and blaming it on Israel and saying that Bibi Netanyahu is behind it all and saying that he wants to steal Iran like he's been stealing other countries or something. Like, it's just, it kind of blows my mind. Well, the level that we've stooped to.
Even the most radical of all Jewish people in the world, no one wants to take over Iran. That's not a part of biblical
history. Has anybody actually said that?
The truth is, the Prince of Iran came out saying that only Persia and Israel are the only peoples that are alive today from the times of the Bible.
Wow.
It says Iran isn't called Iran, it's called Persia. They speak Persian. They speak Farsi. They speak in Arabic, you say Farsi because they can't say P. The Islamic takeover of Iran is a modern concept that's actually erased its biblical roots. Wow. And the fact that we're about to celebrate Purim, which is the holiday that was centered in Iran and in Persia, at this time, as this is all unfolding, I don't see it as a coincidence. I see it as a divine sign.
I think it's also interesting on this topic of but everything's blaming on Israel. But I just saw this week in the news that Syrian leaders, the Druze leaders in southern Syria, are begging Israel to come and actually rule over them.
Yeah,
because of this genocide. Where's the outcry saying, okay, Giuliani, whatever the guys, the Golani guy, the terrorist in a suit in Syria, where's the outcry saying, okay, he can't rule these people. He's still murdering people. Let's actually put these guys under Israel's rule because Israel's actually a better government and they're begging for it. Why is that not actually a legitimate deal?
The last time I had a conversation with Ambassador to Israel from the United States, Mike Huckabee, I said, I want to offer a new land for peace deal. And he's like, really, land for peace? Like, you're in Judea. You're the farthest, deepest settlement in the land of Israel. You're going to offer land for peace? He's like, yes, what I'd like to do is I'd like the Arabs to offer us land and we will bring them peace. We'll bring law and order and prosperity. And so I think you're absolutely right. That really is the the only solution, is that Israel needs to take responsibility for these nations that can't defend themselves, for these people that are being slaughtered. If someone doesn't, no one will stand up for them. Definitely not Candace Owens, who's now really in some ways denying that there's anything happening in Iran, meaning like Elon Musk activated Starlink, the internet is down. No, that's just an Israeli psyop. Like, she's so filled with lies, and you see that she's just a dark, demonic, hateful person.
Well,
and
you
it's
have to,
all coming out now.
You can't deny the fact that Iran has just closed its airspace. You can't deny the fact that embassies around the world are moving people.
One of the Iranian officials just moved $1.5 billion to an offshore account in like Dubai or something like that.
They're preparing to leave.
Right.
You think?
Well, I think it's
flights are being canceled all over the place. I mean, even here in Israel, a couple airlines have or one airline closed flights. Other airlines have turned around.
They've all basically said we will stop flights at a moment's notice.
Boats are stopping. They're not going into harbor in Iran. Nothing's happening. What kind of lie is that? That's an absolute farce. It's a lie that nothing's happening. Something is happening.
I mean, here's how you can tell what's true and what's false. During the Gaza war, there were all these AI fake images that were being produced. Thousands of babies are being killed in Gaza. The internet was never shut down. Journalists were there. Everything was open. Everything was honest because Israel has nothing to hide. When evil really wants to get its way, it shuts down the internet, turns off the lights, and does everything in darkness. And that's what we're seeing now. And what's so crazy is that all of the things that the regime accused Israel of, they themselves are committing. They're literally committing a genocide to the minorities in their country right now. And it is never been a line that is so clearly obvious. Hamas is the Ayatollah, is Iran, is evil. Anyone that sides with that axis is literally aligning themselves with the forces of darkness in the world.
You know what's really fascinating to me on this whole thing is why in the world, as soon as Iran is starting to show looks like some weakness here, and Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and these other areas.
Yeah, you want me to read
this?
This
is crazy to me.
We'll get back to the podcast in just a second, but I did want to tell you guys, don't forget to check out these really cool Temple Mashiach pins, lapel pins. If you wear a sport coat, if you have a backpack, if you just wear even a collared shirt, you want to put these pins on. This is a classy way to stand with Israel, to stand with Jerusalem, to stand with the people of Israel. You guys know these patches have been super popular in the last 2 years since the war started. They've been being worn by IDF soldiers all over Israel, and now thousands of them have gone out from our store to people all over the world. It's become like the most popular way to show your support for Israel, the Jewish people, and the God of Israel, because this is a representation of both Jerusalem, the Temple Mount, and the Mashiach. So now we have really cool pins, lapel pins. We have them in green and blue. You can get them on the store today. Just click the link in the description below. Stand with Israel in a classy way. Get the Mashiach Temple Mount lapel pin today. Click the link in the description below. Back to the podcast. Give you these headlines because this is part of like the mask coming off. You know, we see the mask come off of Candace Owens for probably the 100th time now. It's just another one of her masks falling off. But like we have Arab countries as well. You know, we've been talking about it. We've been warning about Qatar. You know, who knows with Saudi Arabia? It's like a 50-50 chance of whether they could join the Abraham Accords or they could be a partner for peace. But what's happening now? You have Saudi Arabia saying they are not going to let the United States use their airspace to attack Iran. And this is according to Arash Hampai on X. He says,
if I remember this correctly, Luke, real quick, just a few months ago, U.S. was saying the Qatar is a strategic ally of the United States. Would you remember that? Wasn't that something we were just talking about? Of
course.
And that's why they were going to give $4 billion something dollars or whatever, $6 billion.
Yeah, and according to World Affairs on X, Qatar refuses to let the U.S. strike Iran from its soil and the military base.
Strategic ally that refuses you to fly.
America's largest military base with 10,000 soldiers is in Qatar. I don't know for sure, but like, I don't even know, could the U.S. effectively strike Iran without operating from that military base?
What value is there to a military base that when you need it and you need to go to war,
right. I like that a lot of people are questioning that now. Yeah.
And so Turkey visited Iran a few months ago saying the security of Iran is the security of Turkey.
Yep.
And you're wondering, like, what are the countries that are being offered to come into Gaza to make the peace accord that are going to like make law and order in Gaza? Turkey and Qatar. So those masks have been removed right now. And I think that there's something really deep that's actually happening. And, you know, there's an ancient Arab phrase that says, me and my brother against my cousin, me and my cousin against my neighbor, me and my neighbor against the stranger. And right now, as it's really coming to a head, I'm wondering if like the deep Islamic ties are saying, who are these infidel again? Who do they think they are? They're going to attack the other. Yeah, they're Sunni and they're Shiites. Those guys are Christians. Those guys are infidel. Those guys are Jews. Those guys have nothing to do with us. And maybe they're aligning in that way. I read another commentary that said, if Iran is defeated and peace reigns, oil prices will plummet because the sanctions against Iran now, meaning there's only so much oil in the world, and Saudi Arabia is really enjoying that. And Saudi Arabia is thinking, wait a minute, oil prices will drop to below $80 a barrel. What are we going to do? Saudi Arabia is a welfare state. I literally don't think that their economy can hold it. Like, let's just keep things as they are. We don't want Iran too strong, but we don't want a free Iran, because then what will Saudi Arabia do?
I think you just nailed it. And the fact is that we see that exactly with Abraham Accords as well. The idea that a strong Iran means that these Gulf states, it's actually a little bit of a hedge for them. They're like, we need that conflict. They have to have that in order to stay in their position of power. That's how they're operating. Without that crazy Iranian global sponsor of terrorism, these countries now, their alignment with Israel is actually weaker. And that's what it seems weird that their whole alignment is only in order to have their influence on Iran. It's not what people think. It's not about we actually have something in common with Israel. What the mask that's being pulled off is no. There's no love between them. There's no love between Israel, Saudi Arabia, and I would say the opposite. Israel would surely love Saudi Arabia. It's actually the other way around. What's the mask being pulled off is Saudi Arabia saying, we really don't actually love you. We were using you as a political or an economic tool. And as soon as you don't benefit in the economics and politics anymore, there's not really anything here for us. And you're actually our enemy.
Well, that was supposed to be the beauty of the Abraham Accords. There was supposed to be some sort of coming together that wasn't the Oslo Accords in Switzerland, but it's actually going back to Abraham. It's going back to the Bible. It's going back to the God of Abraham. There was going to be something, but that's what's happening right now. The masks are all being removed, and the lies, meaning what's happening now, it's so frustrating because Israel was arguing, no, we're not doing genocide. No, we're not starving. We're not doing genocide. And there's an actual genocide that's happening now, and the world is just quiet. And at the same time, Witkoff just came out and said, by the way, phase 2 in Gaza, we're moving forward. We're going to make peace in Gaza while there's still a hostage body that hasn't been returned. And while I just heard from my nephew who's serving in Gaza right now that there are armed Gazans walking with Kalashnikovs right on the border of where the IDF soldiers are. And he's saying, well, I hope that they don't open fire at me because I'm literally right here. And we've been given orders not to fire on them because there's a ceasefire. And we're right back at the same situation. And so they're not disarming. They're not giving back our hostages. What is going on?
Which was contingent on Plan 2.
Right.
You have to give all the hostages dead and alive. And you also have to disarm.
Right.
Show that video real quick, Luke. Show that video. I think them shooting at that
video.
tank. This is what's happening on the other side to Israel.
Very clear video, and for those of you listening, is just came out in the news, which is unusual. The IDF put this out, that there was a massive ambush. Hamas terrorists, a whole group of terrorists, trying to ambush the IDF. They send in 2 tanks. They're firing on these tanks. Like, this is a full-on battle, you can see, firing on these tanks. And then the 2 military tanks, it takes them a number of minutes to wipe out these terrorists. I guess the point is, like, this is still war. This is not just like a little isolated incident, like you're saying with your nephew. There's a war going on, but Witkoff comes out and he's all hunky-dory. And I mean, I can read you some of his quotes like, yeah, time to go to phase 2 of the 20-point plan to end Gaza conflict. We're shifting from ceasefire to demilitarization, technocratic governance, and full reconstruction. I want to read something he said. I thought this was really interesting because he says, phase 2, this is a quote, establishes a transitional technocratic Palestinian administration in Gaza. The National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, sounds like a bunch of long names from bureaucrats, and begins the full demilitarization and reconstruction of Gaza, primarily the disarmament of all unauthorized personnel. The U.S. expects Hamas to comply fully with its obligations, including the immediate return of the final deceased hostage. Failure to do so will bring serious consequences. I feel like this is a repeat of what they said with phase 1. And when Hamas does not disarm in phase 2, which they won't, because we'll keep seeing videos like we just watched of the IDF going to battle with Hamas, then Witkoff and Trump will come back and say, okay, time for phase 3. And if Hamas doesn't fully disarm, there will be serious consequences. And then it'll be time for phase 4. If you don't disarm, when is the world going to wake up?
Right.
I think they're wanting to show progression. They're wanting to say, we're making advancements.
Of course.
You will never make advancements with a bunch of terrorists. And if Israel doesn't already show the world that, you cannot negotiate with these guys. You can't play political games with them. It does not work. It never will work. And that fact is not yet sunk into Witkoff specifically.
Right.
Who is leading this.
It takes us right back to, I'm always looking at the history. It repeats itself. If you don't learn from history, it repeats itself. And this is exactly the same quotes that you get from the Oslo Accords. It's always IDF needs a withdrawal. Withdrawal, and that's going to bring peace. What did that bring? You know better than any of us, Jeremy, that it brought suicide bombers. It brought killings on a daily basis bus bombings, all of these things. This is not going to bring peace. If IDF forces are withdrawing, it's going to be continual murder. That's literally what's going to come out of it. More rockets, more terrorists, more suicide, more whatever. Like, this is what's going to come out of it.
What doesn't make sense to me is that they're not even dealing with facts. You can't move on to phase 2 unless you completed phase 1. So now they're just trying to politicize this and just, we had such success that now we're moving on to this thing.
He literally says, phase 1 delivered historic humanitarian aid, maintain the ceasefire.
Bonk.
You were just
Doesn't
saying
happen.
the ceasefire has not been maintained.
No.
We're all personally connected with soldiers on the front lines. There's not been one day that has not seen.
And that's not something coming from
battles,
the news.
fire,
like you're
guns.
saying, personal connections. Your nephew's literally there right now. Like, can you imagine being a soldier there and looking at the news going, phase 1, maintain the ceasefire, and your friends are still getting shot at on a daily basis?
No, it's not happening.
Or you're getting shot at.
Right.
I just keep on thinking about the people that are sort of outside of Israel. And they're looking at this and they're wondering what side should I be taking here? And, there's an ancient prophecy that was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which was their sort of interpretation of the end of days. And it's sort of vague and loud, and I never really knew what to make of it, but I'm really starting to see the wisdom in it now. And it said the end of days, there's going to be B'nai Or and B'nai Choshech. There's going to be children of light and children of darkness. And I'm like, what does that really look like? And I look at that video of Candace Owens, and I'm like, oh, she's so dark. And I was like, well, when was the first darkness in the Bible? And that first darkness that we saw was the story of Cain and Abel. In chapter 4 in Genesis, this is what it says. So the Lord said to Cain, after his sacrifice wasn't accepted, and Abel's was accepted, why are you so angry? And why has your countenance fallen? And it was that initial anger that created the first real genocide in the world. It was not many people, and he killed his own brother. And you can see that there's two forces that are operating in the world now. All of the people that were protesting for the people of Gaza, the people that are siding with the Hamas, they are motivated by hate and anger. They're operating out of that darkness. And there's a whole other side of humanity. And they really are operating from a place of light. When I go out to war, yes, I want to kill every terrorist that wants to do any harm to any innocent person in Israel. But I'm not doing it out of hatred. I'm doing it because I love Israel, because I love my family, because I love my country, because I love my people. My driving heart is light. My driving heart is that. And, you look at this protest that was just a few days ago outside a synagogue in Manhattan. Look at what they're saying. The war is over, and they're chanting that they want the Hamas here. What is the Hamas? The Hamas is Iran. Iran funds the Hamas. It's the same movement, and those people are not out there chanting, we want Hamas here out of love. They are driven entirely by darkness. And so now it's really simple. because it's not about a religion anymore. It's not about a theology. You don't have to believe one thing or the other thing. You can see, are you a child of light or are you a child of darkness? And Israel is the defining line. Where you stand on that issue literally defines your soul manifest in the world.
You know what I was just thinking about in Christian terms, we have this idea that money, there's a rottenness in it sometimes, and I see that and I'm sure in Judaism the same concepts that there can be this I think it's that quote of root of all evil can be mammon, I think it says, and so but I'm looking at this, talk about light versus darkness. Look at the world leaders that are operating out of faith, and world leaders that are operating out of greed and gain. Well, oil prices and economy being the driving forces of that which is evil today in our world, and people that are operating out of morality. Principles, biblical principles. And there you go. You just decided light and darkness. And look, say Saudi Arabia or Qatar cuts a relationship with Israel because of the oil prices. That's not rooted in morality. That's rooted in, I'm going to rule the world because I need the dollar. And of course, that's the way most of our world works today, except for places that are ruled by deep moral principle. America was founded on deep moral principle. Can't say that we always use that. Israel certainly founded on deep moral principle and actually does use that. Clearly, we had a guy on just last week that talked about the clear morality of Israel in its military and how they are the most moral military. And he came from an unbiased perspective. He was from Holland, and he came and he did this whole, diagnostics on it. He went into Gaza, he went into Lebanon and Syria with the IDF, into the tunnels, and said, it's unbelievable what they do. What the world would be like, the British or the Americans, they're the most moral. No, Israel and their standard of morality with how they conduct war is so far beyond what the moral standard of this world is, it's unreal. And so I look at that when you said light and darkness, and it's so true that even this war that we're on the borderlines, I just heard a jet over us, we really don't know what's going to be going on out there in just a minute. It seems like it's just a minute. It is at the boiled down point. It's that light versus darkness. I just saw, just for instance, everybody's thinking about Turkey, and you just mentioned that the line about Turkey is the protector really of Iran. Well, they're the what would you say?
They said that their security is Iran's security.
Yeah, I have the direct quote here. Turkish military officials visited Iran. They said the security of the Islamic Republic of Iran is the security of Turkey. And just to mention, in case anybody forgot, Turkey is part of NATO.
Well, that's what I mean. That's a big mask. If we want to talk about masks coming off, NATO, and we're also talking about. I mean, we're talking about some massive masks coming off because we're talking about Qatar being a strategic ally of America. That mask just got pulled off right there. Yep. You can't even fly American planes over it. You think they're an ally of America? They definitely are not a strategic ally. And do you think Turkey needs to be on NATO?
Let's talk about the military base in Qatar. We mentioned it before, but there are sources now. Everything's not confirmed, but this military base has 10,000 personnel, soldiers and personnel. There are 3 sources told Reuters yesterday that personnel at the U.S. Al Udeid, I don't even know, why would the U.S. have a
military base
with a Muslim name or whatever, or Arabic name. Anyways, told that personnel were ordered to leave by the end of the day. And there's other reports saying that at least hundreds of personnel have left the base now, according to orders from the U.S. administration.
Something is going down. I mean, Israel is distributing bomb shelters. Families are being evacuated. Ambassadors are leaving countries. Something is going down, and it's just a matter of when.
Also, America just put a pause on any Russians. And where else? Russia was one of the biggest ones. No longer applications to enter America is denied right now.
Really?
Visa applications.
Visa
I didn't hear
applications.
that.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was just from the Secretary of State.
Well, I'll tell you, this also just came out in perfect timing. The head of the UN put out a letter to the Israeli Prime Minister saying, I have issued an official warning to the Israeli government. In a letter sent to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, I made it clear that if Israel does not retract the measures taken against UNRWA, I will consider referring the matter to the International Court of Justice in The Hague. And
So
I'm like,
scary.
as all of this is going down,
Wow.
is that what the UN needs to do now? Is to worry about an organization that is Hamas. They were
Right.
aiding Hamas. They were a part of Hamas. They were holding hostages in their own facilities. And as Iran is murdering its own people, so NATO, the globalist United Nations, it's all a part of a same movement. And what we're about to see is what I believe the final war is coming close. And it's going to shake up the order that controls things right now. And so everyone just wants to maintain status quo. But
Right.
history is going to
Ain't
move
gonna happen.
forward, and it's not going to happen. And so it's like the distractions are, it's not even the distractions, it's the pause waiting for this war, I feel like has revealed all of these truths for just the simple people that are outside looking. It's more obvious now than ever before.
What happens, and maybe we're getting ahead of myself here, what happens if the Iranian people are able to throw this regime off and the prince takes over and the Iranian people and the Jewish people become the people, the biblical, stories of old, the only biblical actual
They became
heritage
allies.
left.
Yeah.
And what if they become this strong, unified force in the world? That's Iran's no longer promoting the largest promoter of funder of terrorism in the world, but it
It'd be-
becomes the biggest
what if the
ally
script
of
flipped?
Israel. What
if the script completely flipped and Qatar and Saudi Arabia
Become
go the
enemies.
other direction
Well,
and
that's what they're
become
doing right
full-blown
now.
enemies, and you have Iran become allies with Israel?
Well, if they're going to tell America you can't fly over, what are they telling Israel?
Well, I'm thinking Qatar is a coward. I don't know if they have any military worth talking about. They're like, oh, there's a war happening. We're not taking any sides. Don't shoot from our area. We don't want to get in the middle of it. So they're just
yeah,
cowards.
what does Qatar actually have besides wealth?
Nothing. Well, they have a lot of hearts and minds that they've bought off. But
Right.
in the real world, I think that if Iran flips, like you just asked, everything will shift. Everything will shift. Qatar's not going to stand alone against the United States, America, Iran, Israel. They'll join on the bandwagon. And so right now really is the defined line. Soon, everyone is going to want to be friends with Israel. But Israel has a very ancient memory. And everything that happens now, it's all being recorded. It's not like Candace Owens will ever be invited into Israel to receive any medals of honor.
Right. What do you think? I've been reading a little bit of history, Ariel Sharon, like what's going on here. It seems like some of this goes in cycles. Like we have 70s, 80s, there was these hijackings that happened. You have the intifadas. We have rises and falls of anti-Semitism. You have the Scud Missile Crisis in the 90s. You had these things from Iraq. How do you feel? Are we in one of these rises, or is this like climaxing?
That's a really deep question.
Like we're seeing this moment. Like I don't know. Even for the last 20 years before October 7th, it was a relatively time of peace and real support for Israel from the international community.
I love that question. And to answer it, you have to look all the way back to the very beginning of the Bible. And what you see is that it's absolutely cycles. Israel will leave the path of righteousness, and then the Philistines will come and attack us. Then we'll have 40 years of quiet, and there'll be a time of peace. And all of a sudden, Israel starts to veer again, and then we're corrected to get back on the path of righteousness. But it's not just a cycle. Really, it's a spiral. And every time we go around, we're elevated. Every time we're going around, we're getting a little bit better. Every time we're getting a little bit more prepared. In this last war, I've never seen the religious, spiritual revival among the people of Israel as I have since October 7th. There is a wave of God's Spirit that is inspiring people to keep Shabbat, to become more religious. Stats are coming out now that 80% of people now are talking to God more than they were before the war. It's like, what is going on? So something is happening. It's not just a cycle. It's a spiral that's moving up. And every time we're knocked down, it's like a springboard to only bring us higher. And so we are now entering into a new phase. This is the transitional phase. And so it's going to get rocky. But once this is done, I believe we're about to enter into an era of prosperity like we've never seen before.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And I want to get back a little bit to what's happening in Israel, because like everybody's like, it is last night, we were talking about, is there going to be an attack from Iran right now?
I mean,
We're
literally,
also waiting.
I went and prepped the bomb shelters just to make sure. I was like,
Are you serious?
I did. Yeah, I just made sure they were good.
And thanks
I mean,
to the
I was like,
and thanks to the messages that went around, I didn't sleep good.
What does that look like?
Turn the air on.
well,
make
they've
sure
been
Walls are still here.
they're solid. Yeah.
Well, they have been leaking. There's been a lot of water
Just
leaks.
check to make sure they're clean and
Is
ready.
that true? If
Lights
water
are
can
on.
get in, missiles can get in.
I know. That's what I'm worried about. Anyways,
the air's on.
thanks to all the
clean and
messages.
ready.
I
Is
didn't
there
sleep
enough
very
room
good.
in the shelter for everyone on the mountain to
There
get
is.
there?
There is.
Oh, that's good.
I think
First time in
all
history,
of Israel
actually.
is getting to a point. That's why they're delivering these things. Jewish people are prepared.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? I think if we were all to make a prediction here, I should go ahead and predict that there won't be an attack from Iran, just based off the fact that we now have shelters and we've never had shelters.
To be
before.
honest,
So-
I don't think there's going to be an attack from Iran.
From Iran or on Iran?
From Iran.
Really?
So I'll give you the.
There won't be any recourse.
I believe this
Because
is
you believe in American
you know,
power and you think that they're
yes.
going to flatten any
I think
idea.
between the United States and Israel, it's going to be a one and done when the attack happens. Because once the regime topples, then the only reason why there would be an attack is if they don't take out the regime in that attack. If the regime topples, it'll be like Syria. Everybody's scrambling for who's going to be the next leader. No soldier wants to be the one on the wrong side at that moment. And right now, there's already that uncertainty. Once the regime falls, it's all this. Every soldier's going, "Who do I line behind? I don't want to be the bad guy."
Well, I'll tell you,
And so,
Iran religiously has a really apocalyptic view. Like they want world war. Ideally, like in some ways, they've been waiting for this their whole lives. So in some ways, they're just waiting to press the button to unleash havoc. That's one of the
You
reasons
mean in
why
their
Saudi.
like paradigm? Like the
yeah,
way they
in their,
think
that's
of-
the way they think that
But
their
what
Messiah
percentage
is
do you
going
think?
to
Because
come.
like now we have to differentiate between the establishment or the authoritarian regime of Iran and a lot of the people. But I still wonder, because there was a video that came out of IRGC funerals and the crowds chanting "Death to America." Obviously, you don't know how much is
Wait,
that
death to America or
staged.
death to Khomeini?
No, "Death to America." That's
They
what
were
I'm
yelling
saying.
that.
Is like
Right.
you don't know. Like
I
it
saw
could
it.
be a fake protest. It could be a small crowd of people. They could have been threatened and say this or we'll shoot you. Like. But we do have two sides of the aisle now.
Sure. Well, right now, the people that are in charge of the military force, at least right now, is this radical, apocalyptic, dark regime, the Islamic.
Well,
Revolutionary
90%
Guard.
are Muslim in Iran.
But not
That's what it's
all
saying.
90% of those. I mean, there's 100% of Dubai are Muslims, but they're now assigned with the Abraham Accords. Like they can be reformed. I'm not sure what the people of Iran, meaning the original Iranians, the original Persians, they're definitely against this regime. Now, the Muslims that they've imported, in some ways, it's like a blueprint for what Europe is doing, for what America's doing. It's like if you bring in radical Muslims into your countries, they'll elect their own mayors, they'll elect their own governors, they'll put judges in the courthouses, and it's just
Well,
a
look at
matter of time
America.
until they take over. And so right now we're seeing really like the first uprising of people reclaiming their own country.
Here's something interesting to go back to your question, Nate, is that I believe some country, and I can't remember who it is, if it's, I think it's Europe maybe, and who knows what they have some sort of intelligence here, but saying that Iran is not as weak as we think they are.
Yeah.
Did you remember that?
Right.
Did everybody see that?
No, I saw there's several predictions, or there's several analysis like that right now.
And to actually
And,
know the depth of their capability is actually something that plays into that question.
So there's actually reports
we
right
don't
now of the Trump administration, and I'll include this in my prediction if you guys want to give your predictions too. But so Trump came out last night or something like that saying, we're now getting reports that the killing of protesters has stopped and they've stopped all the executions,
bluff.
whatever. And so seems like he's saying we're going to hold off from striking Iran. Obviously, Trump is the master bluffer, like you're saying, Nate.
The bluff.
So we
the
don't
bluff.
know what's going on. But there's another report I read today, I think in Jerusalem Post, saying that Trump is receiving intelligence from his administration that, like you're saying, Iran is not weak enough and one strike would not be able to take them out. And so it seems like Trump, this is kind of my hope actually, is that he won't actually strike Iran unless he's fully confident that one decisive, definitive strike would be able to topple the regime. And he has said that. He said, I don't want to be dragged into a multi-week battle or war. And if we do strike Iran, it has to be definitive. It has to be swift. It has to topple the regime. And the reports that we're seeing of intelligence is that's not possible at the moment. So I feel like the U.S. will only strike Iran if they're confident they could topple the regime in one decisive blow. Israel's establishment is assessing that even if the U.S. does strike Iran, that's not for sure that Iran would respond with direct fire at Israel. And even though they're preparing for every scenario, at least the official publication from the security establishment at Israel is that it's not for sure that we would take incoming fire from Iran.
I'm sitting here.
We'll get back to the podcast in just a second, but I did want to remind you, we have 2 incredible trips. They're called the Heartland Experience. One is March 16th through 25th, and the second one is June 1st through 10th. Now, the first one in March is filling up really fast. I just checked the registration, and that trip is getting close to full. So if you want to come March 16th through 25th for the Heartland Experience, don't wait. Click the link in the description below to check it out and sign up today. But we do have another one, June 1st through 10th. That one's still open. People are signing up, so don't wait either. But these are our most popular trips to Israel. It's a 10-day experience. It goes deeper than your typical tour. It's focused on Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria. It's focused on going off the beaten path, meeting the pioneers and the heroes in people's homes, visiting with the local businesses, seeing the agriculture come to life, and you get a chance to get your hands dirty by serving and volunteering in Israel's heartland. Don't wait. Sign up for one of our Heartland Experience programs today, either March 16th through 25th. That one's almost full, or June 1st through 10th. Click the link in the description below to find out more and register today. Back to the podcast.
And I'm listening to every one of your words, and I still don't understand your prediction. What are you predicting?
So I kind of...
This is my prediction. You read all these
What
reports.
is the prediction?
Yeah, what's your prediction?
I lean more towards the side that Iran won't strike Israel.
Not strike
That's
Israel.
what
Okay, well,
I
that's
feel.
two.
But
That's
I don't.
two.
But I'm not confident in that. I think anything could happen.
All right, here's my
Josh,
prediction. Are you ready for that? Oh, no,
Jeremy,
let's go
go ahead.
Josh first.
I'm ready.
No.
I
I want to hear you first. It might shift my opinion.
Okay. I'll let you have the last words. It's my feeling that there's going to be something blowdown that's a little bit bigger than maybe what you guys are thinking. I believe that we are also going to see some move on Turkey in a little broader axis that would also be a really big deal. I don't think that this is all going to be able to be played by the diplomatic way.
What you
which
think
is
China, Russia's going to pull into?
The Witkoff way? I don't think so. I wouldn't predict that. But I do think that there may be some influences through their proxy stuff, which is going to get a little bit wild, was what I would see. The Witkoff, Jared Kushner way of policies and procedures and playing around things, I don't think is going to be ultra successful. I don't think the Gaza thing and all this is going to happen. I do think that we're probably going to see some missiles fly.
All right.
You didn't say where, but
I do think
fly around.
There's going to be some missiles somewhere. Whether the Saudi Arabians are kind of going, ooh, it looks like we might be getting on the target because we've been too close to the Westerners and to Israel. I think they may be thinking that. I think they may be thinking we may be a target. We need to be like, oh, we hate Israel. There could be something there.
that's such a dumb position.
All right,
Not Josh's position.
Well, Jeremy, I think is going to have a little cleaner
To clarify,
predictions.
Saudi Arabia's position.
Oh,
not yours.
Well, first, I
Jeremy.
want to speak for just a moment on behalf of Ari. The end is near.
The end is there.
The end is near.
That's great.
There's going to be a war that's going to rock the world to its very core. There's going to be bread lines. The Jews are going to be blamed. Any Jew outside of the land of Israel, they're in trouble. They haven't made Aliyah yet. Make Aliyah today.
Can I just remind the world just a second that Ari, that's what he is most famous for, not only on this channel, but on Fox News.
Yes.
That went like mega viral 10, 12 years ago. I can't even remember where it was, where you predicted the what was that missile called that puts out all the electricity all over the world?
Oh, an
EMP.
Yeah.
So anyway, Ari would say now is the time when the EMP is going to be
It's just
gone.
a matter of time until Ari's right.
I was going to say, I agree with you. I'm just not. I'm not predicting when the war is
That
going
was
to happen.
all the name
That
of
was
Ari
Ari.
because he's not here. I wanted to make sure his voice was heard.
I think we all agree with Ari. It's just we're not sure exactly when that's going to happen.
But here's what I think is going to happen. I think something's going to happen that's going to absolutely blow our minds. It's just going to shock us. No one saw the thing from Venezuela happening. It just happened. I think that Israel is so deep into Iran with Mossad.
Yeah.
I think the regime is going to topple without even a fire. Something's going to happen that's going to like the beeper. Like who even thought? Do you know how many years Israel was planning the beeper attack in Hezbollah?
Yeah.
They had to open up a company in Hungary, supply them with beepers, put C4 in it, get it reordered. I mean, the amount of and the timing that Israel had those beepers
incredible.
all that time. And when they were just waiting for the right time, I think that Israel and Trump are playing 5-dimensional chess. And there's going to be something that's going to unfold that's just going to shock us. It's not going to be with bomb shelters. It's not going to be. It's just going to happen, and we'll be like, "What?" And it's going to make our heads spin. I really think that's what's ahead of us. I don't know what it is because it's supposed to be surprising, but I think we're all going to be shocked.
And if that happens, which I hope you're right, if that happens, then we are dealing with an absolute new world as it relates to Israel and its neighbors. Take out Iran, this neighborhood's fairly easy to deal with.
That's true. I mean, once Iran is taken out, they are the sponsors of Hezbollah. They are the sponsors of Hamas. They're the inspiration of all of the terror that we see around the world. Cutting the head off the snake, it's going to change everything. But what I like is right now we are literally living through the Parsha of the week. And right now we're literally learning about the 10 plagues. We're learning about the liberation of a people from slavery. As we're watching this liberation of a people in their own slavery to this Sharia law that is so radical and so insane that people are hung for not covering their hair. I mean, it's just like enough already. And what we notice though is that these plagues that happen at the very beginning, there's a plague of blood. And then the sorcerers in Egypt, they're able to do it also. And then there's another plague. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's a miracle, but it's not really a miracle. And there's like a stage in the redemption that's miraculous, but not miraculous. I mean, if you look at what Israel has done in the last 2 years, the beeper operation, the hundreds of ballistic missiles that were shot, that by all stats, I mean, something should have happened to Israel. Not much was damaged here. We're still alive. We're still thriving. Our GDP, our economy, our stock market, the 12-day war with Iran, we took out all of their nuclear facilities. All of our enemies around us just fell. The Hezbollah's gone. Assad is gone. It's like, wow, that's a miracle. But it's not really a miracle. It's like a miracle that somehow can be reasoned with. Sorcerers can come. Candace Owens can come and pour some cold water on it. Oh, it's just a psyop. It's not real. Israel's doing, and it can still sort of throw people off. But I feel like we're right now at the transition between the natural and the supernatural. We're about to witness miracles that are going to unfold here in the land of Israel. That's what my prediction is.
I'm with it. Just to wrap up did you give your full prediction there? Or
I'm actually, now that Jeremy's had the final word,
you're like,
I still feel that missiles are probably going to fly with.
So my just to wrap up my prediction on America is I'm agreeing with Jeremy that like I feel like something's going to happen, but it's not what we're expecting. Meaning, I give Trump and the U.S. administration less of a chance of a full-on strike on Iran than I would have yesterday and the day before. And I think the chances of the U.S. outright dropping bombs on Iran is like growing slimmer. Now,
you do realize it could be wrong in 5 minutes.
I could be wrong could be wrong, and like Tyler might have to cut this out of the show because it could be wrong by the time this goes public.
Tyler, don't cut it out of the show. Make him look bad.
Yes, that's right. To the world.
But I think it would be interesting if we saw something like totally unexpected, like you're saying, like the beeper operation happened and the regime falls that way or something.
That would be.
So anyway, sorry, I feel like I cut you off, Josh. Was there anything else to your prediction there?
I hope with all my heart that Jeremy is correct.
I want to read a question from one of our viewers because I feel like it's applicable, and Jeremy, you can respond and you guys can as well. But they really wanted to know our opinion. This is a question from a viewer in the United States. I believe it's a Jew in America. She says, the Israel guys talked about Jews needing to make Aliyah and return to Israel. When I asked my family and others around me, some, especially my family, don't take me seriously and say it would be extremely difficult and unnecessary since I live in Texas. What are the Israel guys' thoughts on American Jews that are well set up or in the process of getting good jobs, but they are becoming more religious and caring about Judaism and Israel?
I think that everything in life, you have to make big decisions, and you can't really find the answers within a religion. There's no halacha or mitzvah that will tell you who to marry, what job to pursue, where to live. So you really have to go inside when you make big life decisions. And when you make a big life decision about where you want to live, go deep inside and follow your heart. And if you're being called to Israel, then move to Israel. If you feel like, no, but I'm so comfortable here now, and maybe I won't get it in Israel, and maybe I won't know, and maybe I don't know the language. There are thousands of people that move to Israel every year. There's no one in the streets. Everyone somehow makes it happen. God makes a way. And so I would encourage everyone to move to Israel now before you have to run to Israel before it's too late. And so all of the fears and all of the obstacles, I think one verse in the Bible more than any other is do not fear. Just do what's right. Follow your instinct. And if you're being called to Israel, you are responsible to follow the calling of your life.
Now you need to give an answer for Ari while you're at it.
Yes.
Yes, get out now, quickly.
Well, I think to add to that answer, when my dad came to Israel the first time in 2004, he experienced the Bible happening in front of him. Jeremiah 31 specifically, that near opened and read that Bible, and it said, you should plant vines on the mountains of Samaria. And he's standing in the middle of a vineyard. He sees this happening right in front of him, and he says, whoa, the word of God is literally happening today. And so what I would say to this Jewish person here that's asking this question is the word of God's happening in the land of Israel. And literally the Bible says that when a Jew comes home, he declares that the word of God is happening. It literally says that it glorifies the name of God. And so if you want to be a part of that story, then I'm going to be Ari for you. I don't really see any other option here as a Jew.
Totally agree with that. Another mask is coming off.
Yep.
And I don't know if this is going to be politically correct. I don't know how the listeners at the Israel Guys are going to accept this, but I'm just going to tell it like it is. There is a clash between the living word of God and the religion that was sort of based off of the word of God that became a church in Rome. And the Catholic priest that looks like the high priest in the temple that was trying to replace that religion. The Torah isn't a religion. It is a living word. It's a living reality. And we're invited to live in a relationship with that word and with that God. And so that is the mask that's coming off now. People that want to control a religion and then control people by controlling that religion, that's going to come to an end very soon. And it's coming to an end because of the living reality of Israel. And as the world is sort of unraveling right now, I have an inspiration that was pointed out by Ari right before the show. And I was like, I wonder what that is. So I opened it up and he's like, I think we're living through this time right now. And it's right as Israel is being liberated from Egypt. And in some ways, the fall of Iran is actually liberating Israel. It's liberating Israel from the root of jihad in the world. And that will just shift global consciousness. It will change economies. It'll change the whole region. Can you imagine? If that happens, I'm going to celebrate Hanukkah in Iran. I'm going to go there and I'm going to go visit Mordechai and Esther for Purim. Their graves are there. It's like an ancient people with an ancient land that's so connected to our land. And the people there have a heart for Israel. I would love for that heart to be manifest in the world. And what does that leave us? Because bomb shelters are being let out, the army's getting ready, Qatar's not allowing, Americans are being revealed, they're being released from duty in Qatar. And like the whole world is just waiting. And so what does Genesis chapter 14 say? And Moses says to the people at the Dead Sea, do not be afraid. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. And so right now there's a time where it's like, all right, hands off the wheel. We just have to be quiet and watch the salvation of God because something is unfolding. And at the end of the book, Israel's going to win. It's not really a question. Yeah, in the Bible, we had a lot of wars. We lost a lot of people along the way. That's the way the world is. But Israel will always come out on top. And we're watching, in a historic perspective, we are watching the most epic battle unfold. The children of light against the children of darkness. And the light is going to outshine the darkness. And we just have to watch, trust, and enjoy the show.
I think you made the ultimate prediction. That actually, when you said give predictions earlier, that's actually what came to my mind first was, I know, there's a prediction that's almost sealed more. It's not even a prediction. It's a fact. Israel will win. There's no really arguing that fact. It's the eternal people. If Pharaoh couldn't do it, if all throughout the ages, Nebuchadnezzar all the way to Hitler couldn't, it will not be successful. Anyone that aligns with these evil empires that rise against the Jewish people, it will not be successful. They will end as Haman ended. It will never fully achieved because God is in the story. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any practical sense. Candace Owens will never make sense of it. They will always fight against it probably. But my heart is that the world would understand. Israel will win this story. The sooner you get on board with that, the better off your life will be.
Totally. Well, that's the end of the story. And I think that the Bible kind of gives us a lesson just by the fact that it's, the ancient history of our people. But you look at Israel, you have to take it with a bird's eye view. I mean, the Israel guys, it's like, it's like daily news that's coming out. What's the breaking news? What's happening now? And sometimes if you get lost in the breaking news, you don't see the big picture. But a bigger picture, and you don't have to go that far back. When my father was growing up in Jerusalem, he remembers a time where there was one highway. That was it. All the other roads in Israel were dirt roads. There was one highway that connected Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and it was called the Black Road because it was paved. It was called the Black Road. And you look at Tel Aviv today, and you look at Israel today, and you think, a couple hundred years ago, there was like a handful of Jews that somehow made it and stayed in the land of Israel, always keeping us connected. And now there's 6 million Jews in the land of Israel. Jerusalem has never been bigger. There's more Torah studied in the land of Israel than ever before. There are more synagogues in Israel than ever before. There is more spirituality in this land than ever before. So just with a perspective of just watching the trajectory of where Israel is going, that gives us the God's eye view to allow us to see the world with Messiah eyes, because it's coming. It's happening. It's like we can hear his footsteps. There's literally right before this broadcast, an earthquake in the land, 4.2 on the Richter scale that literally is shaking the country. And so things are shaking up. And if you're still outside the land of Israel, this is an invitation to come. And if you can't come, you really do have to tune into this show, into this channel all the time to stay close to the truth.
That's right.
Because there are so many lies out there.
That's right.
That's right. Well, guys, the news is going to keep changing, and we could keep talking, but I think we need to get this out to the public so that, before the bombs start falling, right? Because I just don't want to be wrong. That's my main thing. No, guys, stay tuned to what's happening, not just to the news. It's not important to stay tuned to the breaking news headlines all the time, just in and of itself. It's important, like Josh was saying, like Jeremy's saying, to stay tuned to what God's doing. Stay tuned to what's happening in the land of Israel with the people of Israel.
I have to, because you're inspiring me. Friends, I want to invite you to join the Land of Israel Fellowship.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. This was of the more biblical shows that we've ever done. And
we're
it's
definitely
really
getting
about
into it. Yeah.
what are the news in Israel, what's happening, what's the analysis. But we really kind of like talked about Purim, talked about Genesis, Cain and Abel. We like bringing the Bible into life. And so I just want to encourage all the listeners here to join the Land of Israel Fellowship. It's a global movement of people that really want to live with God as a part of the conversation, as a part of what's happening in their lives, what's happening in Israel. And that's one of the reasons why I've come here, because it's what brings us together. And the more people that join that togetherness, the stronger the light will be, like gathering sparks that will eventually turn into a flame that will bring a new light from Zion.
That's right.
So with that,
I just want to say too, there's hundreds of people from all over the world are gathering every week to study together on a deeper level. We're given the big view. We're given like that God's eye view from like a real big picture. Boil it down, talk about it in detail at the Land of Israel Fellowship is amazing. It's having a huge impact.
Yeah. For those of you who are wondering, what is the Land of Israel Fellowship? It's a weekly gathering of hundreds and hundreds of people on Zoom for an hour with yourself, with Ari. I know your wives are involved pretty much every week as well. And it's like a Bible study. It's like a global Bible study straight from the heart of Judea. And if you're wondering, the Israel guys, we give our full endorsement to this. You guys, this is like the way to go deeper. It's the way to go deeper and get connected with what God's doing here. So
that's right.
We'll put a link in the description below. Join the Land of Israel Fellowship today. I know it's easy. It doesn't cost. It just costs like a couple bucks, and you get connected on the next level to the Land of Israel, the people of Israel, the God of Israel every single week. So link in the description below. Guys, as always, stop listening to the lies and propaganda and connect with the truth of what's happening in the Land of Israel. We'll be back soon here at the Israel Guys.